Early projections prior to incorporation projected service delivery costs well above the cost that we are now contracted to spend. This cost savings, in my opinion, is due to the innovative approach of using several vendors to provide services instead of using one company to manage city operations. I think that in time, this model of service delivery will prove to be effective and cost efficient. As you know, DeKalb County will continue to provide our community with water and sewer supply, treatment, and distribution services, fire and rescue, sanitation, and E911 services for the foreseeable future. The county will also provide police services for a 90-day period. During such time, the City of Dunwoody will be preparing to go live with police protection starting April 1st. The IGA has been passed by the council and will compensate the county $430,000 per month for this service. Fiscal year 2009 will be an exciting year. Over the coming days, the city will add a finance director, city clerk, and municipal court clerk. A city hall will be chosen and built out for occupancy on June 1st, 2009, and a new police station will be built out for occupancy on March 15th, 2009. The city will be recruiting an army of volunteers to fill various boards and commissions that will regulate land development and provide the elected officials with advice, counsel, and recommendations. A comprehensive plan will be developed this year that will afford the community the opportunity to create the roadmap for our future. Roads will be paved, potholes fixed, curbs repaired, and signals timed properly. Our parks will be clean and safe, and our citizens, visitors, and business owners will be treated like family. The new City of Dunwoody will not be a replica of what has been done in the past, but instead we will be an innovative, transparent, and dynamic local government where billions of dollars in commerce are transacted and families live a charmed life in a beautiful community. In the final analysis, the city will take in approximately $15 million in revenue and expend nearly $14 million over the course of this year. Including a $500,000 contingency in the non-departmental budget, the city intends to transfer potentially $1.5 million to fund balance reserve for fiscal year 2010 and beyond. This is a great start forward toward a fiscally stable future for the city of Dunwoody. I am eager for January 1st, 2009 to arrive so that we can begin to live the dream of residing in the city of Dunwoody. I'm excited to work with all of you to bring your vision and your goals for our great community to life. And if you look through the budget, we've presented a budget summary just after the transmittal letter that summarizes all of the revenue sources, the percentage of revenue, and then also the expenses. And of note, as I noted in the transmittal letter, that on the revenue side, property taxes, franchise fees, and business licenses make up nearly 70% of our revenue. On the expense side, police services represent about 42% of our total budget, with public works, finance and administration, and community development coming in at approximately 14-15% for each of those categories. I think the most significant thing to note when you consider on the expense side and from an overall fiscal picture is that starting a city is a unique opportunity, but also has some unique challenges. We have some unique first-year costs that came into this budget that we're estimating over time will save the city in upwards of over $2 million for next year. When you look at some of the things that we'll not have to purchase twice, we'll not have to pay someone to do again. So a lot of the consultant fees and other equipment purchase and other expenses that will not be repeated. The other thing to note is that on the franchise fees is slightly misleading on your revenue, in that we are showing an estimate of approximately $2.5 million from Georgia Power that will come in fiscal year 2009. And as you noted when you did your franchise agreement with them, 2010 they will pay us nothing, and in 2011 we'll continue again paying a percentage of the gross revenue. So there will be a gap next year of $2.5 million that we're not collecting. That will be made up by a combination of unique first-year costs that will not incur in year two, and also we'll be starting to collect our insurance premium tax and bank share tax in 2010 as well. So from what I've tried to do in this budget is start to project out for 2010 to make sure that what we're starting to do here we are able to continue doing in the future. And I think that we can absorb all the costs of starting up the police department and all of the other factors that go into creating a city from scratch, and we can do it in a fiscally responsible manner that will actually put money in the bank at the end of the year instead of creating a debt opportunity for us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all might have. But before I do that, I did want to suggest a few amendments to the budget. I think I've noted to you offline, this has been a considerable work in progress that started long before I got here, and that we do anticipate making several amendments next year as we go, as we learn, as our revenues start to come in, so that we've got it properly forecasted and maintained. What I would suggest to y'all is to add $100,000 to the insurance line item for property and liability coverage. The budget needs to contain 16 months worth of insurance coverage. We are covered on our insurance from September, from the time that y'all were, I guess, sworn in up to the point of December of next year. So the money that's put in there is insufficient to be able to cover those costs. There also is going to be an uptick in costs once the police department goes live, and we'll be taking on the law enforcement liability, and then also all of our automobiles will be purchased all at one time, and we'll be having to pay insurance on those as well. So I think if you add $100,000 to the non-departmental, that will cover the cost of the 16-month period, with the deduction for law enforcement for the first 8 months of the contract, if you look at it on a 16-month basis. The other thing that was inadvertently left out of the budget, and I apologize for this, is there does need to be the creation of an additional special fund for streetlights. This is an item that historically is on the DeKalb County tax bill that will be coming to the city of Dunwoody as revenue, but we also pay Georgia Power on a percentage basis for the streetlights that we use. So the recommendation is to put $330,000 on the revenue side into that fund and $330,000 on the expense side. There's also an additional cost that we need to pay for the lights that are not on the residential bills, but they go to the city, suggesting putting $35,000 into the addition into the public works budget for that. We also have $60,000 already in here for the PCID street lighting. I think that will cover, but maybe lacking in information.
I actually think that's duplicative. I think that $60,000 for PCID utilities includes the street lighting for those streets that aren't covered by the streetlight fund. I think that we by putting that $60,000 in there for PCID, and just for the benefit of everybody in here, we all pay for on our property tax bill. If you've got streetlights in your neighborhood, there's like a $15 fee for streetlights. That covers the cost of streetlights for all the residential neighborhoods. What it doesn't cover is the streetlights along Ashford Dunwoody Road and along Perimeter Center Parkway. Those are considered to be for use by everybody, and historically DeKalb has paid for those out of the general fund. That's now going to become our responsibility, and I think that $60,000 PCID utilities covers that, so I don't think you need to have an extra item in public works or street.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
That works. Also,
just a point of clarification, on your tax bill, if you'll take a look at it, it will show you exactly what you're paying for streetlights. That's a pass-through item, and it's based upon your amount of frontage you have on your lot. That's how you're charged.
Right.
and I failed to highlight it, and I should have, because it is the most significant part of our expense budget, but I did want to just alert the council to some of the assumptions that we've made on the police department's budget, and that will help answer some of the questions, because this is our largest expenditure, and Chief Grogan is also here to answer any specific questions as well. And we have highlighted for the